The cold winter sun shone through the window of my office like the angel of death peeking into the house of an Egyptian, checking to see if the blood of the lamb was on the doorframe when she was just free to take the firstborn child. Days like this are always the coldest in the city. The sky is bright blue and the sun casts cold hands out to meet us. Wrapping her arms around our necks like a lady in a red dress, her kiss lands on our cheeks, beautiful and sensual, but empty of warmth. Days like these make you feel like maybe it would be better if you just stayed in bed. I know I'd have liked to, but we all have to man our lonely posts on the watchtower. Dad always said I was born on a day like today. A week before I'd been born, it looked like there was going to be an early spring, but then I came into the world, and it dipped below zero and stayed right there until May. It was the longest winter they'd seen in years. Dad lives in Panama now, spending his days drinking mojitos on the beach with a washed-up telenovela star. I guess he's done all right for himself. He tried to call me earlier. I'm going to have to remember to call him back later. My name is Sam Graves. I'm a private eye. You got a big, naughty problem that could only be solved by some snooping around? You come to me. I don't know the meaning of life, but I can catch a cheating spouse as good as the next detective. On the picture shows people watch on their computer machines, they like to make being a private eye seem exciting and glamorous. Well, I hate to tell you what you already know, but you can't believe everything you see on the screen, kid. I was in this business for 20 years or so, and all it ever got me was gray hair about 10 years early. Suits me, though. Everything else about this world is gray. The city, the concrete, my jacket, even my eyes. I used to see things as black and white, but somewhere down along the line, they all got muddled together. Now all I can see is gray. That's the funny thing about gray. You can bring as much black or white into it as you want. All you're ever gonna get is more gray. A rap, rap, rap like the heartbeat of an old man dying without a will, his children about to tear the family apart over the scraps he leaves behind. Come back tomorrow! There was another knock. A more slow and steady one. Like the kind the secret police in some banana republic let slip before they break down the door to arrest the journalist you've hidden in your basement. You gotta forgive me. You spend 10 years in my line of work and you develop a taste for similes and metaphors. Like a poet with just enough talent to slip a single paragraph into annals of history after a lifetime of labor. It's probably Lieutenant Sabian again. He comes around every now and then to ask me where the old houlihan Picasso is. It never existed, but nobody wants to believe something like that. They want mystery and excitement, not lies and slander. They don't want to spend all night solving riddles only to open the vault and find nothing but Grandma's pearl necklace and a half-empty bottle of wild turkey. I could probably go for a half-empty bottle of wild turkey. The door swings open. I turn to tell whoever it is to make trails somewhere else. I was face to face with two metallic green eyes that brought a splash of color into my ugly, monochrome little world. Green eyes that shone like false beacons over a coral reef, waiting for some homesick cargo barge to beach themselves so the smugglers could ransack it at a low tide. I knew this person. We'd crossed paths several times before. He had a Christian name. If you go down to St. John of Rella's Orthodox Church in Pittsburgh, he'll go down into the basement and give it to you. To everybody else, though, his name is Sunshine. It's an ironic nickname, like the bald one in the Three Stooges being called Curly. Sunshine was colder than the day I was born and more aloof than my high school prom date. He was sharp-looking, always immaculately groomed and fashionably dressed. He didn't smile much, and when he did, it fluttered into the corner of your eye like the knife that killed Caesar and left you on the concrete bleeding before you even realized you saw it. He walked up to my desk with his hands behind his back. "What brought you all the way out to my part of town, Sunshine?" He withdrew his hands from his back. I expected to see a revolver and a brick, but instead he had 2 coffees, and he handed me one. It's a cappuccino that tastes vaguely like almonds. He tells me that he was in the neighborhood and decided to stop by, smiling like he thought I'd buy it, like the angels of heaven ever came down to the Valley of Hinnom. A likely story. Nobody comes to visit little old me just to talk. You're up to something. I can smell it on you like that fancy shampoo you wear. I know you work for that law firm downtown. Looking to hire a snoop?" He tells me no. Then he laughs and says he's just looking for something else, relating to a personal matter. Then he smiles at me all coy-like. He was wondering where he could find a good, honest woman. "Who do you think you are, wandering the waste with your lantern looking for an honest woman?" I nod at my filing cabinet. "Third drawer down. I got a file on every honest person in this city. All 9 of them. "No, I'm not one of them. Of course I'm not one of them. I lie for a living." He's playing some kind of game and I don't know the rules. "What's your angle? What are you doing here?" "You saw me at the jazz club." What? That's crazy. I definitely don't have a side gig as a saxophone player. Not at all. Does this gray slab of cement look like it makes any beautiful noises? He throws a Polaroid down on the table. It's of me smiling and playing my sax in the basement of an old brick factory. I curse under my breath. He's got me dead to rights. "So it's blackmail, huh? Gonna let it slip that old Graves is a big softy deep down? Letting my loneliness and grief out through the beauties of freeform jazz? What's your price, sunshine?" He laughs and says that he never realized I had hidden depths. He wanted to get to know me better. Get to know me? What are you talking about? It all falls into place like a slab of concrete. The sudden arrival on a lonesome winter night, the coy smile, the playful tone, the cappuccino that tastes like almonds. He knew. He knew about the old Houlihan Picasso. It all made sense now. His law firm had been the ones that he'd hired to be his defense team while the banks were looking like they were going to take him to court. Sunshine must have found the files. He knew me from the other cases, and he knew my weaknesses. Blackmail was a start, but it wouldn't be enough. He needed more leverage, something life or death. The almonds. He'd given me poisoned coffee. I was Ulysses in the palace of Circe, and unlike him, I couldn't call the gods on a toll-free number. I had one hope. Tell him what really happened on that 23rd day in May, 6 years ago. Now you listen here and you listen good. I'll tell you what that old Johnny O'Houlihan did with his Picasso. I broke into the story like an old man telling his grandkid about the bodies he buried in the war. He was an ambitious kid, grew up on the streets. He had dreams. But some kid from the meatpacking district can't just walk into a bank and get a loan, not for the money he needed. He read about a Picasso painting that went missing during the siege of Madrid back in the 30s and decided to paint himself a copy. He took it to the bank for collateral. I don't know anything about Picasso, and they must not have either because it fooled them. They gave him the cash for his casino. He watched me talk with interest. I hope he believes me. He watched me talk with interest. I hope he believes me. Then O'Houlihan starts missing payments. The bank starts getting antsy, starts thinking about what happens when they get the collateral, starts asking if they can get a look at the phony Picasso he's got hanging in the foyer. He knows if they actually get it appraised, his goose is cooked, so he burns it and claims it got stolen. They bring me in to go looking for it, and they didn't even pay me enough. It takes a while, but I start to get on the trail. O'Houlihan gets rash. He comes at me with a gun. It was him or me, and for some reason, I decided I wanted to live. He's listening to me with an expression of disbelief. He wasn't expecting this. I presented my evidence to the bank, but that's when the real trouble started. Turns out the bank was on shaky ground too. If word got out that they got scammed like this, well, the merger they were negotiating would be in jeopardy. They needed a patsy, so they tried to pin the theft on me. Neither side could prove anything. The charges didn't stick, but my reputation was forever stained. Now everybody thinks I've got some $1 million painting squirreled away someplace. If that was true, would I be living in this dump? I told you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. Now give me the antidote. He was confused. Now I was confused. The ice broke. They seemed hurt. To the poisoned latte. You think I'm an idiot? I can taste the cyanide. He pins me to the wall. I'm weak in the knees. It must be the poison. I can see out the window. I was born on a day like this, and I'll go out on a day like this too. I've never really appreciated symmetry. I look up at those green eyes again, cold and scheming, but there's something else in there now. Something I had to get right up close to see. There's a green fire in there, warmer than the winter sun. We lock lips for one hot second. They taste like the pines in the forest north of town, where I used to play as a sad, naive little kid. I'm finally stumped.
What was that?
He laughs warmly like an old friend. He tells me that was the antidote. Then he started laughing again. It takes me a minute, but I start laughing too. Things aren't adding up. And then it hits me. Wait a minute. I get it now. You're asking me out. The latte wasn't poisoned at all. I'm just a paranoid old fool. He starts laughing. I laugh with him. I can't believe a hotshot like you would notice a dame like me. He pins me again. There's another smooch, like a scenic drive through the Adirondacks. We go back and forth for a while. He pulls away. He explains to me that I have a new case. I'm supposed to meet him at his place at 8 tomorrow night and take him to some hole-in-the-wall joint called McKinney's. He leaves. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never turned down a case from a good-looking stranger. Why start now?